Hi, this is on Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. I am going to talk about finding your center in this particular video. Just give me a second here. I need to cover up this thingy because it changes my brain because my subconscious mind is still weird. So, finding your center it's amazing. I'm unprecedented. I do shit with psychology that is not discussed. I do shit with psychology that no one talks about. This stuff is not in books. So there's a lot of I'm in a there's no path. There's no fucking path for me. I'm wearing khakis and I'm out in the front and I'm hacking down weeds with a scythe, making my own path. Because the one that they've laid out for me is contaminated with the government. And I know this. I'm at a point where, and I didn't always know this. This is a realization I've come to. Now, with psychology, I've always known it. No, I haven't. It's been a road. I just know that it didn't align with me. And that's what it started off. This doesn't feel good. This is literally like the stages of realization. It starts off with this doesn't feel good. That's the stage. That's the first stage. It just doesn't feel good. And it continues to not feel good until it hurts. This is where a lot of people are. It just hurts. It just hurts. You probably don't remember a time when it first felt bad, or maybe you do. I don't remember that. For me, I'm so far away from that stage that I don't remember it. This doesn't feel good. And then I remember the hurt stage, oh my God, everything just fucking hurts. And then you start to change your behavior and you go, oh, there's no pain here. And that's just called I'm going to call it the respite stage, where you find a behavior and suddenly it feels good. And I toggle. And then there's the toggling stage. And the toggling stage is when things hurt sometimes and then there's respite. And this is behavior. I mean, when you do this behavior, it doesn't feel good or it hurts. And when you do this behavior, it's such a relief. And it could be things like you go to a family reunion and it hurts. You are dishonest about what it is you're really doing in your life. You make sure you wear the right clothes around your parents because you know they won't approve. You hide the tattoo that you got on your arm. You take out your nose ring so I don't have one. You take out a nose ring so your family doesn't know what you've done. You are placating the delusion. And that hurts because it's not authentic. But you haven't figured that out yet. All you know is it hurts. So you spend more and more time on the other side of respite. You hang out with friends who are like you. They have the tattoos. Or you hang out with friends who admire your taste in your clothes and your style. They accept your style. Maybe you'll go on a really crazy weekend to Burning Man, or you'll go on this really fucking crazy adventure. And when it's all done, you'll feel like you've lived for the first time. And that feeling like you've lived for the first time is you being authentic for the first time. And it feels so good that you spend more and more time in respite. And then your family calls you up. Are you coming home for Christmas? And there's going to be that day where you finally say, no, I'm not. And then you get all the backlash. So for the next 2-3 years, you do go home for Christmas and you're fucking miserable. You end up having panic attacks, maybe. You end up in fights. And you're just so eager to get back to your respite, where you belong, where you can be yourself, where you don't have to hide who you are because your parents are that fucking judgmental. And then as you're going about in your respite, things come up. Your behavior starts to change. You start to cry. You start to feel insecure. Fear becomes an overwhelm and you don't understand why. The closer people get to you, the more terrified you get. Suddenly you can't function in your respite. So you go to therapy. The first thing therapy says to you is, get on some meds. You're so lost for answers, you say, okay. And then you start to uncover and you start to dig. Maybe therapy works, maybe it doesn't. You quit it. Maybe it drags on for decades. Mine did not. I would not allow mine to drag on for decades because I had 20 years of psychology in my brain at that time, so I knew when I was being bullshitted. I knew too much about psychology for them to try and pull shit over on me. And I really wanted to see what the system looked like because I wanted to know what was available to the people. I saw what was available to the people. The system preys on people. It does not fix them. It placates them to keep them obedient. Hence the medications. I knew better. So I left the system and I created my own shit. I love my shit. And that is when I realized that the reason why it felt good sometimes was because that's when I was aligned. That's when I started to find all the words to all of this. In this video, I'm going to give you all of those words. It felt good because you were aligned with who you were. You found your song. It didn't feel good because it wasn't you, because it was not aligned to who you were. It hurts because you had to give up your love. Pain is actually an absence of love. I talk about cognitive dissonance. Let me really dig down deep and show you what cognitive dissonance really is. The self is pure love. And I mean, you are pure love like God is love. Like you are love. Your identity is love. Your actions, when you're aligned, you're doing what you love. We are the embodiment of pure love. When we are misaligned, it is living without love. And that's why it's cold, and that's why it hurts. Love is a dampering emotion, so that when you feel loss, love consumes the pain and it hurts almost not at all. Gratitude is part of love. Gratitude is a channel for love. This is why we manifest. If you take the name Jesus and replace it with love, and then you read the Bible, he tells you how to manifest. Anything done in my name, and you will get the kingdom of heaven. Translate that. If you do it in the name of love, abundance, the kingdom of heaven is manifesting abundance. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. In the name of love. I have been looking for Jesus' real name all my life. The man was a fucking Jew living in the Middle East to Jewish parents. His name is not Jesus. Jesus is a Latin name What is a Jewish child living in a Jewish country doing with a Latin name? Mary and Joseph would not have named him Jesus. I know too much about linguistics. I knew it wasn't his name. So I've been asking the question for 30 years. What was Jesus's real name? Because it sure as fuck wasn't a Latin word. His real name was love. That is why it was kept from us, because it was code for this is how to manifest. When you read the Bible and you realize that it's written in the eighth perspective, it translates completely different. It's awesome. And it's so funny because second perspectives take it literally. So they say, in Jesus' name, amen. Why are you saying in Jesus' name? It's because in the Bible, he says, if you say it in my name, you get it. But his name was never Jesus. Because Hebrew people would name their children with Hebrew names. Rome invaded that area. It imperialized it very recently, around Christ's time period. For God's sakes, the Latin in the Roman Empire at that time, Latin, by the way, is from the city called Latina, and Latina is located about 30 miles from Rome. It's like a very small city, and it's where the language Latin comes from. So Rome adopted Latin as one of its primary languages, especially in the written word. And then they brought that language over to the Middle East, where Mary and Joseph were. And those people were of Jewish roots. They had a heritage steeped in the Hebrew language. Mary and Joseph, why would they name their child Jesus? It didn't make any sense. It pissed me the fuck off. Really, it pissed me the fuck off. God damn, it was the most illogical thing in the entire Bible, was literally his name. I'm like, okay, your name is not Jesus. I know too much fucking shit about language, and that is not your real name. What's your real name? And here he is going, say my name, say my name, say it in my name, say it in my name. And they say it. God is love. God is love. And it like, why couldn't I see this? So yes, we are pure love. And when you do something in love, you are aligned with it. When you live in love, completely consumed by it, with it, proper love, the celebration of, the caring of, the value of, the beauty of, you encompass it, and suddenly things don't hurt. That's why narcissists are in so much pain, is because they literally live and exist completely without love. So it hurts because you have forgotten love. You are love. You are love. Which is why I say, do your gratitude journals. Because gratitude journals allow you to really hone into what you love. Self-love is the love. It's the ultimate love. It is the pure state of love. It is where love originates. We are love. We are the pure and total state of love. That's why people are born out of love. They're supposed to be anyway. Because we are love beings. We are love beings. And when somebody tells us we have to be something that we're not, inauthentic, they are taking love itself away from us. Two ways. First, there is self-love, where they are severing us from the love center itself, and they are also throwing conditional love at us, which isn't love at all, saying, if you want me to accept you, you have to behave like me. It is absolutely living without love. So it's gonna hurt. And when you're true to your authentic self and you find respite, a place where you can celebrate yourself in your own privacy, you start to associate love with being alone. And then you find some friends who align and tune into you. It's because they are like you in love. But the trauma, the pain, and the hurt keeps coming back. And the realization that your core belonging, and that's it. That's when it all comes back, is when you lose your core belonging. When you lose your core belonging because your family has thrown you away, that is when all of your trauma comes back and you've got to deal with it now. Because your core belonging doesn't want you without a certain condition. And subconsciously, you've started to figure that out, usually around 35 years old. Usually around 35, 40 years old, you start to figure it out. That you crave to go back to the belonging because your walkabout is over, but you have no belonging to go back to. That's why you cry. That's why it all comes back. And that's when you decide to pull away from your family unit, because it requires that you give up what you love, and it requires that you live inauthentically and put on a mask during the family holidays. And you've gotten so used to living free that you can't stomach putting on one more mask. So you're isolated. As you heal, you start to realize more and more what feels good. But we're still not calling it what it is. And what it is authenticity. And what that is living in celebration of love. You choose your family based on love. You choose your partner based on love. You choose your hobbies based on love. You choose your home based on love. You choose your items based on love. You choose your job based on love. You choose your career, your friends, your movies, your cats, your dogs, your vacations, all are based on love. Or it's based on what somebody else decides for you. So when I say align yourself, I am actually referring to align yourself with what you love. Align yourself with love. We must be aligned and tuned into our love. Love is the center. And trauma is the act of having love taken away from you. When I was 8 years old, I realized something. Everything I love, the church hates. Books, ballet, dance, education, philosophy, questions, me. So by the time I was 12, I literally had I was 15. By the time I was 15, I was like, all right, I get it. If I love it, the church is going to take it away from me. I understand. And they did, literally, systematically. Everything that I loved, my family and the church fucking hated. Well, it was not hard for me to make the decision. Okay, choose a family that doesn't protect me, a family that feeds me to the wolves, a family that nurtures my abuse while they take away everything that I love, or be myself. I chose to be myself. And oh, fuck goddamn did I pay for it. So when you are healing and they're telling you all this bullshit in your therapy about what happened to you and where you're going in life and what you're doing and what you want, they're not saying the actual words. Here they are. They're trying to get you to identify you, which is love. Because every one of us was raised with one belief. Don't be vain. Check your ego. Check your ego. Keep your ego in check. Ego is love. So when you are checking your ego, you are actually throwing away love. And we have all these societal gaslights in our brain of, oh, you've got to be humble, humble to the point where you absolutely destroy the self. And the self is love. We are raised in a society that literally conditions us to hate ourselves, to reject love. And when you go through healing, it's the recovery of love. But I see a lot of people who are still avoiding this truth that we are pure love because they think it's vain. But 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's too logical to ignore. That when we say things like, oh my God, I love that, it aligns with me. Oh, I hate that because it doesn't align with me. And then we're taught things like love is an emotion. No, it's not. Love is a state of being. It is your center. When you come into existence, you are pure love, which is why babies always smile. You are pure love. And what you are doing when you heal is you are finding all the things you love again that were taken away from you. You are conditioned to fear love. Healing is the practice of exposing yourself to what you love and reteaching yourself to not fear what you love. I am a Taurus who loves my creature comforts, who loves my luxuries. And my father was very, very adamant that I was materialistic, that I valued possessions more than people. This was his perspective of me, forced into me. So every time I drank from a cup like this, I had guilt for a long time. But really, I love the artwork. I love the elegance and the delicacy. I love everything about this. I love everything about this. And my father conditioned me to reject it and to hate it and to feel bad about the celebration of myself. So when you sit down and you start writing down all of your self-care and what you love and what you're grateful for, what you are really doing is you are digging deep into your center and you are defining what love is for you. Once you know what you love, then you can start bringing people into your world. This is why when we bring someone over to our home, we're actually being very vulnerable and showing them this is who I am. And yeah, there's a lot of anxiety because now you're being judged. Now people are looking at your possessions, your things, and who you are, and you're holding your breath. And if you chose wisely, they will respect your space. My self-care regimen consists of a gratitude journal, and it consists of I am statements, followed by a bucket list. I want, I wish. So the words are thank you for, as much as you can, followed by I am, which is your name. And then I wish and I want. Then I do, I will. And I spend about 30 minutes every morning just writing down those statements in that order. Thank you for, I am, I wish, I want, I will. And then I go back to thank you. And it's, yeah. It's your identity, what you love versus your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind does not focus on love. It focuses on safety and fear. Your identity focuses on love. So you literally have a battle in your brain, love versus fear. Going back to the Bible, it's really awesome when you realize that, because the entire Bible just talks about love versus fear. It's just the battle of love versus fear. But it's shit that you don't realize until you get to the 8th perspective, which they figured out when they wrote the Bible, and they went, oh, it's just a battle of love versus fear, the identity versus the subconscious mind. This is really fucking cool. Let's put it in a book and call it code. And if you look at every great battle, through every great book, through every great mind in all of history, it's the same fucking story. Love versus fear. Your identity versus the subconscious mind. It is the great conflict of man. The self versus fear. It's discussed in philosophy all over the place. Like, it is the primary thing that is evaluated in philosophy. The conflict between man versus nature, man versus himself, man versus the supreme being, God. Love versus fear, war and peace, love and hate. Oh, it's gorgeous. And it all comes down to the alignment. Your alignment is what you love. Who you are is what you love. What do you love? I ask people this all the time. What do you love? Tell me what you love. And I get so many people going, I don't know. Which tells me exactly to what degree your subconscious mind has been conditioned to throw you away. Take my master classes. I undo that shit. All I do is reverse that shit. So you get to be you again. It hurts because it's absent of love. I remember when I found love. Oh yeah, I was so separated from love that I did not know who I was. And when I got my love back, I felt fear and pain. And the love was there to absorb it. And I went, wow. You feel emotions so intensely at level 10 emotions because you are void of love that cushions that pain. If you felt love, those emotions would be absorbed by the love, and you would only feel 2s or 3s. You're supposed to have love to damper the pain, which is why when we suffer from a loss, it hits us so horrifically, because we have used a person to supplement love. So when they die, we lose love. You're supposed to be using yourself. Yourself is love. That's the difference. That's your center. What you love. This is life. This is the growth and the stage of life. When you get to that point, when you realize your respite is just your freedom and your family, we have this belief that your family is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. Societal gaslight, garbage lie, conditioning designed to keep you in a community so they can enslave you. No, blood is not thicker than fucking water. I'm going back to the original quote. I want to know where it comes from. The original, the blood of the covenant. Oh, fuck, damn. This is 16th century rhetoric. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The saying means that chosen bonds are more significant than the bonds with family or water of the womb. More directly, it means that relationships you make yourself are far more important than the ones that you don't choose. Wow. And that has really gotten twisted around. Sir Walter Scott, interesting, the origin of the idiom, blood is thicker than water, is believed to be a Scottish novel. The saying is attributed to the Scottish poet Oh, it's 18th century. No, something's not right there. Something's not right there. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it goes back to the 1100s. The phrase first appears in German by Hendrik del, I'm not pronouncing that name, in 1180. It has been repeated in slightly different words in a large number of books, sermons, and speeches over the century since. Yeah. It is fucking old. It is old. It is really old. But why do we say this stuff? Like, really, why are we saying this shit? Where does it come from? And when you really dig deep into where it comes from. Now, when I grew up hearing it, my family loved shoving that one down my throat. Blood is thicker than water. I had friends and I had family, and there was a competition. And my family made it very clear that they were more important than my friends. So that when I finally had a community of friends, there's that thing that it's a toxic belief. These idioms that we have been using for centuries put toxic beliefs into our minds that keep us aligned with an abuser's mindset. They use idioms as a means to control us, to embed toxic beliefs into us, to guilt us into, you have to be loyal to the community. Second, perspective thinking. You have to be loyal to the family. Second, perspective thinking. 100%. Second, perspective thinking. Every perspective borrows from the other perspectives to accumulate and support their own perspective. But you only do this within the first 2, 3 perspectives surrounding you. Fourths will borrow from 2s. Fifths will borrow from 3s. The reason why is because we have a higher function and a lower function. Your higher function is your perspective where you function at. Your lower function is the perspective that when you're hangry, you go down 2 levels. So I'm an 8, I drop to a 6 when I'm tired and hangry. When you're a 5, you drop to a 3. When you're a 6, you drop to a 4, which is why we toggle. No one person has just one perspective in their mind. We have multiple perspectives inside of us, which is why we are inconsistent. Inconsistency, mood swings, these are just shifting between multiple perspectives inside of our heads. Because a person does not have a perspective, we have multiple perspectives. That is the lie that we have one perspective. No, we do not. We are made up of multiple perspectives. A lot of those are invasive perspectives. So healing is removing the invasive perspective so that you can realign to what you love, which is your center. So once you realize that your family, your community, and that's really it. There is a stage in life around 30 to 50. I'm just going to say 45, around 45 years old, where you seek out your own community, and that separates you from family. And if you have a second perspective family, they're going to hold on to you. But we need to find our own community, one that aligns with our actual ethics, which is what we are doing when we hit 35 to 45 years old, is we are looking for a community that resonates with us. Because it hurts when we don't. So we seek out love. I call them heart families. My partner, he's aligned with me. That's all that matters. He aligns with me. And I'm right now in a stage of my life where I'm looking for a community that aligns with me. I am looking for my community because it's time that I build, that I start creating my family. I want my family. I want to belong. Now I know what I'm going to build that family around. But I couldn't build a community without being defined first. And it's just more reinforcing what I love, reinforcing who I am, what feels good. So yeah, that whole this doesn't feel good, this hurts, then suffering and being in pain, it's because you're not aligned to what you love. And then you find yourself that respite with friends because friends are aligned to you. But family's telling you you have to go back to them with their second perspective attitude of, oh, you've got to, we're the community. We're your community. You can't force your fucking community on me, second perspectives. Bottom line, you can't. Stop fucking forcing your perspective onto me. Which is why fourth perspectives are so gung-ho about making sure you align to that community. Come home for dinner, come home. And they've got this ideology. But at 45 years old, you're not going to play that fucking game anymore. At 35 years old, you're done playing that bullshit. Because you're now sixth perspective, and they're still fourth. And once you get to sixth perspective, you realize what matters is autonomy. What matters is authenticity, not community, which is why you're constantly being told to come back for Christmas. No, I'm sixth perspective. I'm eighth perspective. I don't do that shit. I don't do that shit. Second perspectives do that shit, and that's not me. And it's amazing because they're very, and don't get me wrong, family is huge. If you have a solid family base, great. If they're aligned to you, fine, fantastic. It's when they're not aligned that they're forcing you. That's the problem. And if you don't want to be abused anymore and they are abusers, you're even going to be more misaligned. Because you start to prioritize autonomy and love and alignment above the expectations of others. And that includes your family. So sever your family if that's what you need to do. Don't feel bad about it. That second perspective trying to guilt you because they prioritize community. But that doesn't mean it's your priority. According to second perspective, community is everything. But that doesn't hold true for the other perspectives, especially sixes, sevens, and eights. Fives barely tolerate that. Fives barely tolerate that perspective. Fours wallow in it because twos is their low functioning. But fives are getting to a point where they're like, yeah, that doesn't align with me anymore. Sixes are done with it. But you're made to feel guilty because of your fourth connection with your six, and then your low functioning is four. And if you've got a bunch of families who are fours and they're all telling you you need to prioritize twos, you're not going to get there. You're not going to feel that. You're going to be like, no, I'm not coming home for Christmas. Don't come home for Christmas. Don't. And don't feel bad about it. You do you. You absolutely stay true to yourself. Do what feels good to you. Choose your family. Choose your alignment. If you love shit like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want more shit like this, subscribe to my amphitheater and get my full self-care regimen healing pack and your design journey. And if you cannot get enough shit like this, become a member of the Healing Garden. The link is below, and you get Power of the Self, my masterclass, every month with that. It's a $1,000 value. It is amazing. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.